Hello everyone, Assalamu alaikum. Welcome back to the channel. If you are passionate about cybersecurity, ethical hacking, and real world practical learning, then you are at the right place. So, in today's live session, it's all about the active reconnaissance on TryHackMe. We will move from theory to real hands-on commands used by professionals. Okay, in this session we will practically explore tools like ping, trace route, weaponizer, proxies, random user agents, telnet, and netcat, and so much. Before we start, like the live stream and subscribe to the channel and drop your question in the live chat or in the comment. Okay, so let's start. So first, uh, let me let me check what is active recon. So first, what is recon? Right, this that's the question. What is recon? Reconnaissance is the first and most important phase of ethical hacking. So what is active recon? Active recon means we directly interact with the target system to gather information. So unlike passive recon, here the target can detect us, so we must be careful. Let's jump into TryHackMe and start learning step by step. So this is a simple room of active reconnaissance. Learn how to use simple tools such as traceroute, ping, telnet, and web browser to gather information. Okay, so introduction. In this room of the network security module, we focus on passive reconnaissance. In this second room, we focus on active reconnaissance and essential tools related to it. Okay, so there's second room in the network security module on TryHackMe. We learn to use a web browser to collect more information about our target. Moreover, we discuss using simple tools such as ping, traceroute, telnet, and NC, like netcat, to gather information about the network system and services. As we learned in the previous room passive reconnaissance lets you gather information about your target without any kind of direct engagement or connection. Okay, you are watching from afar or checking publicly available information. But that's the passive reconnaissance. What is active? As we Let me explain this again. Active reconnaissance requires you to make some kind of contact with your target. This contact can be a phone call or a visit to the target company under the some pretense to gather more information, usually as part of social engineering. So alternatively, it can be a direct connection to the target system, whether visiting their website or checking if their firewall has an SSH open port or not. Think of it like you are closely inspecting windows and door locks. Hence, it is essential to remember not to engage in active reconnaissance work before getting signed legal authorization from the client. Okay. Okay, so in this room we focus on active reconnaissance. Active reconnaissance begin direct connection match to the target machine. Any such connection might leave information in the logs showing the client IP address, time of the connection, and duration of the connection. Among other things, however, not all connections are suspicious. It is possible to let your active reconnaissance appear as a regular client activity. Consider web browsing. No one would suspect a browser connected to a target. Okay, that's all. That's it in this section. We will be discussing the ping, trace route, and telnet, and so much. Let me check this, and then the web browser. Okay, the web browser. This is the task 2. The web browser can be convenient tool, especially this that it is readily available on all systems. There are several ways where you can use a web browser to gather information about a target. Once the transport uh, level browser connects to TCP port 80 by default when website is accessed, or HTTP, and TCP port 443 by default when the website is accessed, or HTTPS. Since 80 and 443 are default ports for HTTP and HTTPS, the web browser does not show them in the address bar. However, it is possible to use custom ports to access a service. For example, instance, this will connect or to this IP address at this port number via HTTPS protocol. Okay, if there is an HTTP server listening on that port, we will receive a web page. While browsing a web page, you can press Ctrl plus Shift. Let me check this. Or on PC, Option plus Command plus I, or on a map developer tools. Okay, similar shortcuts will also get you started from from developers tools. That you inspect many things that your browser has received and exchange with the remote server. For instance, you can view and even modify the JavaScript file, inspect the cookies set on your system, and discover the folder structure of this site content. Okay, that's good. This is our developer tools. As you see here, let me right click and then inspect. So as you see here, there is a element section, console section, sources, network, and performance. So the network section is the most important section in the developer tools, and also the debugger. The debugger section is also, let me click the Control Shift and L. Okay, it's not working. It's worked. Control Shift and I. Okay. So let's open this developer tools. There are also plenty of add-ons for Firefox and Chrome that can help in penetration testing. Here are a few examples. Okay, there are some extensions like Foxy Proxy and Weaponizer and User Agent Switcher. Okay, so what is Foxy Proxy? Let's you quickly change the proxy server you are using to access the target website. This browser extension is convenient when you are using a tool such as Burpsuit, or if you need to switch proxy servers regularly, you can get Foxy Proxy for Firefox. Okay, so this is helpful in intercepting requests with the help of Burpsuit. In Active Recon, hiding your real IP is very important. Okay, so the Foxy Proxy and then Proxy is best for hiding your real IP. Uh, Proxy acts as a middleman between us and the target system. Okay, so its benefits is anonymity and bypass restrictions and reduce detection. On TryHackMe, this helps us to stimulate real world scenarios. Okay, so what is the user agent switcher? Gives you the ability to pretend to be accessing the web page from a different operating system or different web browser. In other words, you can pretend to be browsing a site using an iPhone when in fact you are accessing it from Mozilla Firefox. You can download user agent switcher. Okay. Okay, so what is user agent? Using random user agents makes our request look like they are coming from different browsers or devices. Okay, so it is useful in, why it is useful? It is useful in bypassing filters and realistic testing. Okay, so we can download this in here. Debugging. Okay, so user agent switcher. Spoof website trying to gather information about your uh, web navigation like your browser type and operating system to deliver distinct content you may not want. Okay, that's it. And then Weaponizer. So what is Weaponizer? Weaponizer provides insights about the technologies used on the visited websites, such as extension is handy primarily when you collect all this information while browsing the website like any other user. A screenshot of Weaponizer is shown. Uh, mm, okay, a screenshot of Weaponizer is shown below. You can find Weaponizer for Firefox here. Okay, so this is Weaponizer, the user agent Weaponizer. This is already in my Google Chrome here. So let me check this. So first, let me explain what is Weaponizer again. Weaponizer tells us about CMS, framework, server, analytics, and more. For example, WordPress, Apache, Nginx, and JavaScript frameworks. This information helps attacker and defenders both. So it reveals the backend technologies of our website. So as we run this Weaponizer extension on our TryHackMe, so it's give me a plenty of not a plenty but a large number of information like the automation, development, JavaScript frameworks, and so much information like JavaScript libraries and JavaScript graphics, UI frameworks, and CDN. A lot of information, so that's good. Browse the following website and ensure that you have opened your developers tools on attack box Firefox or the browser on your computer. Using the developer tools, figure out the total number of questions. Okay, let me open this and then okay, Sin, can you hear me, Bob? Let me check this and then open my developer tools. Control Shift and then I. Okay, sources. Okay, so in sources, so as you see here, there is a networking TCP and then script.js and then a CSS file. There's not important. So our important file is this script.js. So as you see here, here is the questions. Let questions here is a variable called let functions and then the question section 1 2 3 4 and this is the 8 questions here. Okay, so that's it. So the second and the fourth tool is the ping. Okay, so what is ping? Our first tool, this is the ping. Ping checks whether a target host is online or offline. Ping checks whether a target system is online and reachable. Okay, in simple words, if we get replies, it means the host is alive and responding. So let me explain. Ping should remind you of a game ping pong. Okay, you throw the ball and expect to get it back. The primary purpose of ping is to check whether you can reach the remote system and that the remote system can reach you back. Okay, that's it and this ping tool. In other words, initially this was used to check network connectivity. However, we are more interested in its different uses, checking whether the remote system is online. In simple terms, the ping command sends a packet to a remote system and the remote system replies. This way you can conclude that the remote system is online and that the network is working between the two systems. If you prefer a particular definition, the ping is a command that sends an ICMP echo packet to a remote system. Okay, that's clear. If the remote system is online and the ping packet was correctly routed and not blocked by any firewall, the remote system should send back an ICMP echo reply. Similarly, the ping reply should reach the first system if appropriately routed and not blocked by any firewall. The objective of such command is to ensure that the target system is online before we spend time carrying out more detailed scans to discover the running operating system and services. Okay, so that's all about the ping. Let me start my machine and then let me check it hands on and practically. Okay, so let me wait for this and read this article on your attack box terminal. You can start to use ping, such as the ping and then your machine IP or your host name or your target machine IP. Okay, so in the latter, the system needs to resolve hostname to an IP address before sending the ping packet. If you don't specify the count on a Linux system, you will need to hit Ctrl plus C to force it to stop. Okay. Okay. So hence you might consider ping dash C if you want to send a packet. Okay. So dash C dash c specify the packet counts. So this command ping dash c and then 10 and then my target IP address if you want to send the 10 packets. So use this. This is equivalent to this command on a MS Windows system. Technically speaking, ping falls under the protocol ICMP. ICMP supports many types of queries, but in particular we are interested in ping and ping replay. Getting into ICMP details is not required to use ping. In the following example, we have specified the total ping counts of packets to 5. Okay, that's it. Let me try this practically. Let me try this practically. Which option will we, which option will you use to set the size of the data carried by the ICMP echo request? Which option would you use to set the size of the data? Oh, okay, so which option will we use to size the data? So this is the dash C. Which option will you use to set the size of the data carried by the ICMP echo request? Okay, which option? Let me check for this option in the above example. Dash L. Okay, this is the C. That's not good for this. Let me check for this. What is the size of the ICMP header in the bytes? Okay, so what is the size of the ICMP headers in bytes? So this is the in bytes. Let me check it practically. And then specify my target IP address. So this is the 84 bytes, I think. Okay, that's it. And then what is the size of the data? So that's the 8 byte of 8 byte. Or does as Windows firewall block ping? Yes, it's request. And then deploy the vulnerable machine to ask using the attack box terminal. Issue the command ping, and then let's see to count my packets. My packets here is in this command is 10. Okay, so let me check for this. Let me run this command and then see what is its output. How many ping replies you get. So we get 10 replies. So what about the first question? Which option would you use to set the size of the data? Okay, size of the data. No, in the ping utility, the dash s flag. It allows you to it allows you to specify the number of data byte to be sent. So that's it in the in this section. This is the ping section, and we want and we have to learn the trace route module in the task 4. So what is trace route? Trace route, as the name suggests, trace route command traces the route taken by the packets from your system to another host. The purpose of trace route is to find the IP addresses of the router or hops that a packet traverses as it goes from your system to a target host. This command also reveals the number of routers between the two systems. It is helpful as it indicates the number of hops between your system and the target host. However, note that the route taken by the packets might change, as many routers use dynamic routing protocols that adapt to network changes. Okay, on Linux and Mac OS, the command is to use this, and on MS Windows it is traceroute. Traceroute tries to discover the routers across the path from your system to the network. Okay, so what is traceroute? Let me explain again in the simple explanation. Traceroute shows the path or packets take to reach the target. Okay, this help us identify routers, gateways, and network structure. Why it matters? It matters in network mapping. It helps in network mapping. Also, detect firewalls and understand infrastructure. Okay, so this is important. That's the reason. Okay, so let me check my charges. About 19%. Let me clear my terminal. And then as you see here in the diagram, this is our computer, and this are 1 2 3, and this is the 10 hops between my computer and the server. Okay, so this is the simple command like traceroute and then tryhackme.com. So it shows you the exact path of the routers and gateways and the other network devices. So it reveals the 14 devices. Okay, and the another scan it reveals the about 26 devices. So in trace route A, what is the IP address of the last router? Let me uh, this practically try hackme.com and then hit enter. It shows a 10 network devices and gateways. Okay, along with its IP addresses. In traceroute, what is the IP address of the last router hopping before reaching TryHackMe? In traceroute, what is the last IP address? This is the last IP address. Okay, in traceroute, the IP address of the last router before reaching TryHackMe. This is the last router before reaching TryHackMe. How many routers are between the two systems? So there is a 26 routers between two systems. 26. Start the attach and just to run this command. We run already we discovered 10 gateways. Okay. The fifth question and the fifth task that we learn is we are learning the telnet. Teletype network protocol was developed in 1969 to communicate with a remote system via a command line interface like CLI. Hence, the command telnet uses the telnet protocol for remote administration. The default port used by telnet is 23. From a security perspective, telnet sends all the data, including usernames and passwords, in clear text. Sending in clear text makes it easy for anyone who has access to communication channel to steal the login credential. The secure alternative is SSH. Okay, SSH is a secure protocol for that purposes. So that's the command format. Let's say we want to discover more information about a server listening on port 80. We connect to the server at port 80 and then we communicate using the HTTP protocol. You don't need to dive into the HTTP protocol. You just need to issue this command to specify something other than the default index page. You can issue this, which will request the HTML page. We also specify to the remote web server that we want to use HTTP 1.1 for communication to get a valid response instead of an error. You need to input the same value, okay, and hit enter. On a particular interest for us is discovering the type of version of the installed. Okay, so as you see here, that's the command format for telnet. So the telnet and then my target machine IP address and then to specify the port number. The 80 port is to specify the HTTP. The 80 port is specifying the HTTP because the HTTP is running on port 80. Okay, start the uh, attach VM from the target task. If it's not on target machine, telnet tries to connect. What is the name of the running server? Okay, what is the name of the running server? What's the name of the running server? Telnet, and then my IP address 10.48.145 and then 215 and then 80. Okay, so let me issue this command get. So in this scenario we are using the port 80. So this is the HTTP, and in the HTTP uses the get request. So we have to specify this HTTP and then 1.1 and hit enter. Okay, so let's take a bit of time. What is the version of the running server on port 80 of the VM? Okay, so as you see here, the request is bad request. What is that problem? We issue the same command here, but why it's not showing me the exact result for this? What is the name of the running? The port 80 is this, that's it. Let me copy this command. And then paste it here. So if you are watching this live session, please like the channel and subscribe the channel. And if you have any question and facing any problem, so please tell me in the live chat. Then hit enter. Get and then http 1.1. Okay, why it's showing the bare response? So this the same IP and the same output. So if so I think my VPN is not properly connected, because this is the same command in the right command. There is no issue in my commands and this one, but I think the VPN is facing some problems. So let me check this. What is the name of the running server? So this is the Nginx. Okay, that's not Nginx here. This is the Nginx. It shows me here that's not Nginx. Issue this command again. Get then http 1.1, and then I think here's we have to specify the host number. I'm not sure to specify this, but okay. The problem is we cannot specify the host. So the host is the telnet, and it's successfully give me the result of 200. So what is the server? The server is the Apache. Okay, that's the Apache. And then version 2.6.61 here. 2.4. Okay, so my battery is low. Let me connect my charger. The last tool is the netcat, and it's also the command line tool. Let me explain this. Netcat is or simply NC has different applications that can be of great value to be a pen tester. Netcat supports both TCP and UDP protocols. It can function as a client that connects to a listening port. Alternatively, it can act as a server that listens on a port of your choice. Hence, it is a convenient tool that you can use for a simple client or service or server over TCP or UDP. Okay, first you connect to the server as you did with the telnet, like this one, and the terminal. So collect its banner using this with the quite similar to our previous. Note that you might need to press shift enter and get line. Okay, let me clear this terminal, and then my command. So the dash L is to specify the listen mode, dash P to specify the port, dash N numeric only, no resolution of hostname via DNS, dash V is for verbose mode, and dash V is for very verbose, and dash K for keeping listening after client disconnect. Okay, so start the VM, open the attack box. Once the attack box loads, you use the netcat to connect to the VM port 21. What is the version of the running service? Okay, so let me start the virtual machine. So let's take a bit of time. So I'm connect my charger again. What is the problem in my laptop? Okay, so there is a 5, 3, 2, 1, and then boom, on IP address is here. So what is the netcat? Let me issue the netcat command, netcat, and then to specify my IP address, and then we have to connect with the port 21. Okay, what is the problem? Okay, heavy dash P and then hit enter. Okay, what's I think there is something wrong in, in my command. Okay, so this is the command, but this is port 21. What is this problem? What is this problem? Let me ping my IP address part if is it working or not. Okay, that's it. That's no problem in my. Let me check again. Okay, let me issue my command. This and then port number. Let me check for port number at first. Valid port number. What is this problem? The command um, is right. There is no issue in my command. This is the same as this one. But what is it problem? nc-lvnp. What is the running server? What is the version of the running server? Okay, what is the version of the running server? Mm, is it my IP address is right or not? Okay, that's right. It's right. Okay, when the client side you will issue this command here is the NC after you successfully establish a connection to the server. Whenever you type on the client side you will be echoed on the client on the server side and vice versa. Okay, the command is clear. Okay, finally it's worked. What is this version of this command? Okay, so there is this is the 0 point and then 17. So if here this is netcat. I hope you learn its Let me explain it again. Okay, let me explain it again. What is Netcat? Netcat is one of the most powerful tools in cybersecurity. Explanation is a simple explanation. It can be used for banner grabbing, port interaction, file transfer, and reverse shells. Uh, this is must this is a must-learn tool for every ethical hacker and a penetration tester. Okay, so now let's combine everything we learned in and perform live active reconnaissance on TryHackMe, and we and we have done this here, and we have done and learned all section. I hope you are satisfied from this video. Okay, so drop your questions in the chat. I am reading them live. If you have any question, please tell me in the live chat or in a comment box. Okay. So putting it all together, this is the seventh question. In the ping this, that's the command, that's for this, and this is no much info. We are done here. Okay, so we finally completed my room. So everything shown here in this room is quickly and strictly for educational purposes. Only practice on platforms like TryHackMe or with proper permission. Okay, so in today's live session, we will learn real active recon techniques using in the industry. If you master reconnaissance, hacking becomes 70% easier. Okay, so hacking becomes 70% easier if you master reconnaissance. Practice daily, stay consistent, and never stop learning. If you have learned something from this live session, like the channel, subscribe the channel, share it with your friend. Links to TryHackMe tools and my community are in the description. Okay, so I have provided the WhatsApp channel link and the GitHub link in the description. Make sure to check them out. Follow the WhatsApp channel for free resources, other valuable resources. That's all for today. See you in the next live session.